everybody, Chris Overstreet, the Redneck Gaijin here. How y'all doing? We're not doing Kerbal Space Program tonight. We are doing Assetto Corsa because I have finally finished editing the previous track day Assetto Corsa videos, which means it's time to record a new one because I've got a bunch of mods, actually wacky ones this time, that I've kind of banked aside. Part of them came from a Jimmy Broadbent video where he put 4 or 5 unusual mods on Assetto Corsa and had volunteers come in to race him. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to do it that day, but I did save the mods. And the other part is from a Halloween hot lap thing I did with Onid. The hot lap was around Black Cat County, which is a fairly long lap, but it kind of showcases about as much as Assetto Corsa can do for different track surface conditions. And the cars that were picked out were... oh boy. But one of the cars that Jimmy Broadbent drove was a version of the Honda Acty, which I've done videos about Actys before. But it occurred to me I've never actually put any of the Acty mods around Brands Hatch. So we're going to start with that. There it is, the Honda Acty. It's slow, it's small, and the original mod is broken fuel consumption-wise, so 5 laps around Brands Hatch would pretty much be all it can do. The base version, I have edited it myself so that the fuel consumption isn't a problem, but I haven't done it for any of the other variants. So, we'll only be taking them around short tracks tonight, but... for the time being, we need to set a baseline, and we need to put this thing around, which is actually slower than the Ford Transit. So be patient, this will take a while. Yeah, it is maxed out on fuel, and it's good. For the other versions, it's going to need it. Only one choice of tire, as you'd expect. Top speed in 5th gear, 140 kilometers per hour, which is roughly 75, maybe 80 on a downslope, but don't expect to hit that today. All right. Here we go. Now that my tires are absolutely fucking cold, let's go. Oh yeah, we are so slow. Just a little bit of body roll to make things interesting. Oh, a differential can lock up in this thing, huh? Which means our first flying lap is going to be spoiled already, but what can you do? Since it's spoiled, we'll just try taking Graham Hill flat. Not Graham Hill, I have forgotten what the name of this one is. Paddock Hill, that's right. Not shifting up to 5th because 5th doesn't have enough guts for even this meager slope. So far, no excitement, just much slows. AC still counts that as valid, so we're going to keep going. Not shifting up. That would just cost us time. And downshifting there was a big mistake. One lap left, and there is time still to be had here. Could have done better than that. Okay, not quite dipping down into the 112s, which will put this very near the bottom of the tote board. 113 aught is as much as I can wring out of this thing. And I don't think I've got more than another 2/10 in me without like a day or so of practice. This is, well, you saw it for yourself. We never got as high as 120 kilometers per hour. This was meant to be fuel efficient by law, by Japanese law. Fuel efficient, which means slow and weak. But as you're about to see, we can change that. The Honda Acty HA3 Drift. Yeah, somebody has bumped up, almost doubled the horsepower. Well, no, this is still the same tech specs as before, but best gears, more power. Yeah, this lies. You're about to see exactly what it can do. Now, the thing is, I, generally speaking, hate drift cars. I am very bad at driving vehicles that are designed to drift. I want my tires to grip. I do not like them to slide at all. Unfortunately, I don't really have that option so much, except this thing is set up for drifting default. I'm going to take that out a bit so that I can actually drive this properly. That's about all I can do with this, so let's give it a shot. Yeah, it definitely wants to understeer quite a lot. A little bit more power, which means now I can go into 5th gear and not bog. Somebody who's better at drift driving than I am, which is practically everybody, would definitely be able to get better times than I'm about to get. But this is me, so this is my show, this is my times. And this is me going into the sand. Okay, first flyer's already cooked. Even bearing in mind what I did with the camber and tow before we started this, I was really not expecting a drift car to be this understeery. Even taking into account the fact that I took as much of the drift out of it as I could, it's actually not nearly as much fun to steer as that slowpoke base model is. Also, this one doesn't have any body roll to it. They've stiffened up the suspension. Sad, sad. It is considerably faster than the base model, but faster than the base model, but still slow in any absolute sense. And also the tires are dying a very rapid death. 2 laps to go. One lap to go. Can we get into the 107s? Lost about 2/10 with that little tail waggle there. But 107.89. That's about 5 seconds faster than the base model. Still very, very low on our scoreboard though. But we're going even more extreme with this next one. Do you recognize the livery on this one? Yeah, somebody took a Honda Acty and Initial D'd it. Hauling tofu with the 86 might be slightly faster, but what if you can carry twice per run? You put a K20 in an Acty and make it corner on stilts. Power 190 brake horsepower. That is 4 times as much as what we just drove. Top speed 2,000 plus. Bullshit, but we shall see. There's very little you can adjust on this. You just have to take it as is, and that's fine. Spinning wheels up to 4th gear. And it only has 5. Get on the track, please. Oh boy. Yeah. This one's a handful. This might be too much power, you know? Because it's still the same tires, which means very little grip with this much power to it. And all the power in the world does you no good if you can't put it down. Still tops out at about 100 miles per hour, though. Oh, that diff lock up. That is something else. I've only got 4 more laps to learn how to drive this thing. I didn't even shift that time. It just... Oh, boy. Make that 3 laps left to learn how to drive this thing. I'm beginning to think I'd be better off just leaving it in 5th. Brakes locked up bad. It's kinder on its tires than the drift version is, I'll say that much for it, but if anything, this is actually driftier than the drift version. Last lap. That is terrifying all the way around. Oh boy. I mean, it gives up grip too easy. It wants to lock up too easy. I can just barely touch the brakes. Yeah. This may be something for the Toge, but it's not for me. Now, the thing is, when Jimmy Broadbent did his meme video several months back, he did a fourth version of this, which I have never driven even an inch. The other three I did drive at least a little bit for a previous video, but you'll notice when I hover over the base model, there is an optional here. The Honda Acty SR20 Det LHZT. So yeah, angle kit, welded differential, 3 sets of tires, SR20 Det swapped, turn up the boost to wake the beast. I may have a coronary during this stream. Notice the extra engine in the back. That's not for decoration. That's the booster. Okay. Maximum speed in 6th gear. This has a 6th gear, 246. We'll leave it, and we can crank that. Oh my God. It promises 374 kilometers per hour in the longest gear ratio. I'm tempted to take this to Cirque du Sarthe, Le Mans, without the chicanes and see if it will live up to that, but no. Used tires, fresh tires, semi-slicks. I think we're going to go with the semi-slicks for this one. Electronics, ABS, very on, because we're doing 100% fucking turbo. Because I saw that video, and in the video, these did nothing but drift. You could not drive them in a straight line, or at least Jimmer couldn't. Anti-roll bar. This is the first time we've seen a Honda Acty with that. Okay. We'll go with that and see what we can do. Oh, this is definitely not a stock engine. And the force feedback is much more powerful. And the tires register as having 0 grip. Believe me, they have more than that. Okay, gonna have to brake hard for that. Alright, first flyer. Or not. Okay, hardly any damage that time. But yeah, gonna have to brake a lot earlier. This thing still has stock brakes. Nope. And that time we are going back to pits. Because that was suspension damage. We have... This is damn near undrivable, as expected. Okay, gonna have to slow down even more. Damn, no, Okay. Repair again. I've got one chance left to get a lap in. God. Too much power. Too much power. I did finally get in a lap, and it's still slow by the standards of our leaderboard, but there's just too damn much power. It just wants to go every place except straight. And if you put your foot down at any point all the way, you will lose control. This poor little truck was never intended to have this much power. Alright, we are done with Honda Acties. So, let's see, what is next on our current list? This mod is by the same man who did the Ligier City Box mod and the Ford Transit 2007 mod, Gary Patterson. This is an actual racing lawnmower because, yes, people do race lawnmowers. And we're going to race a lawnmower right now. No, not yet, not yet. Back to pits. I want to go through, see if there's anything. Gears are fixed. Tires are just the tires. No rear tire camber or toe adjustment. Very little you can change on this, so we're going to go with it as stock. Here we go. And these things are showing absolutely shitty grip. Yeah, she is slidey. Very slidey. Steering is extremely loose. And most of the bumps in the track are transmitted straight through the steering column into your hands. Grip has come up, but that's only tire temps. And this thing just saw some grass and it could no longer resist it. It's a lawnmower, it wants to mow lawn. Nope, no grass for you this time. 3 laps left. Two laps left. This one's shot. 1 lap to go. And this lap is shot too. It's got power, but what it doesn't have is the ability to drive in a straight line. Case in point. This might be fun for a one-off race, but there's absolutely no way you could get me into a weekly series on this. Yeah, that's a good enough way to end that. before we get into some of the... Actually, I need to calm down a little bit. Let's go ahead and go... There is actually a racing Citroen C15. Let's go with that. 50 horsepower, top speed 135 kilometers per hour in theory. Acceleration, not bad for a 2CV. Yeah, it's pretty bad. I've tested this out, and the fuel tank is also tiny, so it's not really suitable for anything more than very short sprint racing. But we are going to give it its chance regardless. And I just now noticed the livery. Frog Racing. What bastard put that on a Citroen? I would like to know. I mean, besides me. I chose it because it was green. I didn't know about that. Anyway, in a moment we won't be able to see it. Moving on. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. This thing drifts at 40 miles an hour? Seriously? This may be the most pathetic thing we drive tonight. Maybe I should have run this first instead of the Acties. My foot is to the floor. This is all she's got. And I'm in no danger of touching fifth gear tonight in this thing. Now, the 2CV is famous for its suspension. The fact that it will drive across ruddy French fields and you won't feel a thing, or at least that's the ad campaign. And I will grant you, this particular mod is very smooth. It doesn't pick up bumps at all. It also doesn't pick up speed. Okay, 2 laps left. Although I think I've already pretty much hit the top end of what this thing is capable of. I pushed it a little too hard there, trying to get a couple extra tenths out of it. And yet, yeah, this is not going to be an improvement quite, but that lap I invalidated suggested there was half a second in there someplace if I could only thread the needle. But quite frankly, considering how anemic this thing is, I don't really see a need to try at all. Okay, for the next one, we're going to take something that I picked up ages and ages and ages ago, and I did a video in it. We are not going to... Are we going to take the drift version? No. the Orion VII NG transit bus. As used in Canada, according to the description. There is a drift version of this. There is a drift version, and it goes about twice as fast, but I can't drive it at all. So we're sticking to the slow version. Yeah, this is going to be mega slow. 150 liters. Maybe we'll get around. All right. Yeah, I take it back. This is the slowest thing we're driving today. It's not even a contest. Alright, I hesitate to call it this, but first flying lap. There's really not much to say about this, except that it's exactly what it looks like. It's a great, big, heavy, slow, sluggish beast. And the drift version of this that has like 5 times the power is completely undrivable because it has all the power in the world, but it's still a big, heavy, unwieldy beast. I spoiled that one with that little dip into the gravel, so 1 flyer left. I am inordinately fond of the fan animation that the real-time is mostly covering up. Alright, final lap coming up. And I'm sure you're all very glad about that. Yeah, I was able to touch the 127s that one lap, and it looks like that's... Oh, wait. Is that enough for an improvement? Just barely. 127.88, which is about half a tenth improvement over the other one. Yeah, it's a bus. It's a bus. What did you expect? Seriously, what did you expect? Now, before we get into the weirder of the Jimmy Broadbent meme cars, let's backtrack to the Halloween lap thing I was talking about earlier with Onid. And we're going to pick up some of those. This is the one from the Lego City race car set number 60322. Is powered by a 6-stud turbocharged engine that can produce over 400 imaginary horsepower. Top speed rated at 300 kilometers per hour. Okay. Oh, that's not a good sign. Oh, that's really not a good sign. Now, the Lego hot rod that we ran around here ages ago had plastic wheels. But some Lego kits did actually have pieces with rubber wheels on them. So, I think this one is one of them. So it's got a little bit more grip, but not much. It's got acceleration. It's got hella acceleration. It's the lack of grip that lets it down a bit. Crunch. Alright. That's that lap ruined and damaged, so we've got 3 laps left after we get around here. Yeah, Cadillac might be going with this. I gotta wonder how Checo Perez is gonna like it. 2 laps left. Somebody who's better than drifting than I am could do some real damage in this car, as opposed to me, I'm likely to do some real damage in this car. Last lap. Couldn't hold it. I pushed it, couldn't hold it. Okay. Well, it's fast. It's nowhere near as hard to handle as the hot rod mod is. And in the right hands, this is going to be incredibly quick. The right hands, though, are not mine. Even so, this has a respectable position on our leaderboard, so I can't say it's a failure. Let's put it to bed, though. Then, we've driven the 1966 Batmobile around this track, but the Halloween Hot Lap had a different Batmobile. Yeah, the 2007 Batmobile from the Heath Ledger movie. V8 engine, flame exhaust, 500 brake horsepower, and the most important thing, windshield wipers. That's a big old yeah, whatever. This thing comes with traction control and ABS enabled, which is a damn good thing. You know, it's going to be kind of hard to see apexes in this thing, especially on a track which is almost all right-hand turns. I am vengeance. I am the knight. I am visually impaired. I am blind as a Batman. And it doesn't just look like a tank, folks. It is a tank. It is heavy as shit. and drives like it. No. Let's get back on the pavement, and let's try to stay on the pavement, where at least in theory we have traction. Still haven't got to our first flying lap yet. Yeah, because of the weight, this thing is also drifty as shit. That's not a good thing. Yeah, this is not fun to drive. In fact, the bus was better to drive than this, because the bus at least didn't pretend to be fast. And that lap's ruined. This will look much better when I edit the video for this and put the outdoor replay on it. In fact, there. This might actually be the better way to drive this thing. At least this way I can see the apexes I'm missing. You're talking about Cadillac concept. This might be the new Aston Martin concept. Lance Stroll, that is. Last lap. Pushing a little too hard there. But it did get me almost another second. Incidentally, if memory serves, in that hot lap challenge, this was the car that I won into the class in. Nobody else wanted to drive it. And I do not blame them. No, I take it back. I came in second in this one. There was a different one I drove in, which we're not doing tonight. That was the stock DeLorean from Back to the Future. We already put the fast DeLorean with the one with the actual V8 around the track, so don't feel like doing a slower one. Anyway, moving on. There is one more of the Hot Lap Challenge cars that we're going to put around tonight, and it is the memeiest of all the ones that were put on for Halloween. And it's probably also the one that's going to cause troubles when we do the Wacky Race later on, because I very much doubt the AI can cope with it. A Minecraft minecart with 960 newtons of torque, 674 horsepower, acceleration 3 seconds from 0 to 60 miles an hour. This is insane. And oh, did I mention no tires? You're running on iron rims. Fun times incoming. It's single gear, no shifting, no tires, practically nothing you can change on it, so whatever. And I've already done engine damage. Isn't that lovely? No steering wheel either. Your KUNOS provided Italian Stig drives it with the power of his mind. And wow. Engine damage is going to be a major issue. So we're going to have to be very careful about frogging it. Funny thing about practically all the cars that we're driving tonight, that they have such drift characteristics. Well, not invalidated. We stayed within the limits of the track. Just. It occurs to me that this cart probably runs on redstone, which means after the '66 Batmobile, this is the second atomic-powered car we've run around this track. And that time we did invalidate. Yeah, the fact that it's on basically train rail cars, train wheels, there's the words I'm looking for. The fact that it's on train wheels means that it just really doesn't steer with shit. You have to brake very gently, and throw it in there is the one thing you absolutely cannot do with it. 3 laps left. Pushing too hard again. I'm gonna have I'm gonna have a dead engine if I'm not careful. I'm gonna have 1 flying lap left after this. This is so damn difficult to drive. And I'm sure that the AI will have similar problems, which means it's probably just gonna sit on the starting line when we do the Wacky Race. I didn't even turn. It just did it on its own. And that's pretty much it. I'm already seconds down. Okay. Yeah. Quite frankly, even for a one-off race, I wouldn't recommend this. Yeah, it's memey as hell, but unless you like going completely out of control in any corner, you're not likely to enjoy this one. It takes a special form of complete insanity to even want to try. Okay, moving on. And we're going to go with yes, another Citroen. Because the one we drove earlier wasn't bad enough, we've got one that's worse. Le Citroen C15... Le Citroen C15 est dérivé de la Citroen Visa dont il reprend tout... I can't speak French, and I shouldn't even pretend to. Yes, here's so many wonderful things about a 1980s Econo box. Yeah, don't expect much out of this one. Street tires, really nothing you can change aside from tire pressures. Fine enough. And you wouldn't believe a car like this would bog down in first gear, but it does. I'm glad I'm using paddles and not a manual shifter, because the gear shifts on these things are about as slow as a government check. The only reason I don't praise the grip this thing has is the fact that it's going so slowly that the tires would have to be really shit to not have enough grip. I mean, this is just barely faster than the Honda Acty was, the base Honda Acty. And the Citroen 2CV. Yeah, using the clutch doesn't seem to help. All right, 2 laps to go. Losing all my time at Druids on this car. Yeah, I fucked it. There was something I did in Druids that one lap right, and although I got parts of the rest of the track faster the other laps, missing up at Druids spoiled the whole lap. Suffice to say, this is very much an ordinary street car with ordinary street car handling and no guts whatsoever as far as acceleration is concerned. It's a box. It is a very, very French box, and I suppose I should just be grateful it didn't go on strike. The Toyota Quick Delivery Cardboard Box. Yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, this is the one you were promised. And I'm sure you've seen this all over YouTube already, many years gone, but we're driving it anyway. Okay, yeah. It's a box. That's all you get. It's a box that can get engine damage somehow. Okay, we're gonna have to do another outlap because, yeah, hitting... Does this thing even have a pit limiter? Because that's gonna be... I mean, an engine limiter. That's gonna be damn important. Let's go with the middle gear... No, the long gear ratio, please. Electronics, turbo at 100%. Aero is already maxed out. Alignment, dampers, drivetrain. For what I'm looking for, no help. Generic, no. Suspension. Dink with that a little bit, I guess, but advanced suspension, no. No, we do not have anything to limit engine power, so it will be very easy indeed to destroy this engine. Good to know, I guess. We are not going to have any Ford versus Ferrari moments here, I guess. We're not going to tell Jim Clark to go run like hell. It doesn't turn great. It doesn't turn terribly either, so... The grip is about middling. The brakes are about middling. I take it back. We were able to come out of that last corner a lot faster than most of these cars we've driven tonight could. This is a very low drama box. Tire wear on the front is pretty damn quick, which leads me to think it might be front wheel drive. 2 more laps. 1 more lap. You can lock up the tires on this, apparently. And considering that the fronts are pretty well worn as it is, that's not all that surprising. Yeah, couldn't improve. It's raceable, just about. But it would probably be more raceable if it was whatever car this was built on top of instead of a cardboard box. This is almost the perfect example of a meme car in Assetto Corsa. It's cute to look at, inconvenient to drive. All right, we have 1 car left before we do the meme race. Cheeto out of Zimbabwe. When your grandpa said his car could jump a Coke can in the middle of the street, this was actually the car he was talking about. Powered by a twin-screwed Cadillac Northstar V8 leaking all the Cheeto juice. With the usage of solid Cheeto stick axles, front and rear, the suspension is perfect for running over Cheetos, taking big jumps, or leaving a cars and coffee like a Mustang owner. Made by BTM SimSport and Nuke Drop Tracks. And yes, the Wacky Race will be on the Cheeto Speedway. But for right now, this needs to be on Brands Hatch. I have never driven this before. I have no idea how it performs. Compound, extra cheesy, or wet. Maximum liters, 69. Yeah, no surprise there. Okay, let's see what it does. Yep. Oh, it steers for shit. It really does steer for shit. Gear ratios are a mess. It's going 3-wheel on me. It wants to roll over. Damn. The torque on this engine is actually turning the whole rest of the car. I mean, that's the kind of behavior you'd expect out of Beam MG. NG, Beam NG. I can't pronounce words, honest. Fuck. Okay, I've got 3 more opportunities to get an actual valid lap in. Force feedback on this is very heavy, by the way. Car really does not want to steer or turn at all. When the weight transfers in this, you feel it through the wheel. Oh boy. Whoa! Shit. Okay, that's... Okay, we've got 1 flyer left after I do this outlap. I'm not so much driving this car as wrestling it. Out of everything I've driven tonight, this is, by no small margin, the least fun. I mean, it's funny. Very humorous to look at. But unless you're one of those weirdos who enjoys driving cars that actively try to kill you, this is not your car. Alright, last flyer coming up. There. It has a time. And I never have to drive this piece of shit again. Let's bring up the track we're using for this. I am tempted to use the jump, but considering that at least 1, maybe 3 of these mods are not going to be able to be run by the AI, that's probably just asking too much. 5 laps. Now, what am I going to drive? Not that fucking thing. Okay, there are 13 opponents here, which means if we take the Cheeto off the list, that makes 12. So, I have here, in my hands, my Dungeons & Dragons dice bag, which I hardly ever use. Keep it more around for sentimental reasons than anything. And here we have a 12-sided die. The Cheeto would be number 13 on this list. I will drive whatever the die tells me to drive. And the answer is 11. The minecart. Well, it might be the fastest thing here, so I guess. All right. Alright, what about the Cheeto oval? And let's make it oval no Cheetos, because, yeah, these tracks actually have debris on the track. Here we go, then. 10 laps around this oval. And as I expected, the AI can't do the minecart. good thing I turned damage off, huh? God, that minecart blends in with the track. That is nasty. So many slow cars I picked out for tonight. It's gonna make good content, I'll give it that. I did get what is apparently the fastest car in this, and the one that the AI can't drive. For one thing, we actually get to see it going around the track, and for another thing, the fact that it's fastest means we get this over quickest. Thanks so very, dumbass. Okay, I would like to know who funded me. I guess I'll have to wait until I edit this, though.